Hello everybody, how are you all? Long time no see. This is Synthetic, just in case you've forgotten who I am. And well, I'm here today to update you on, share with you what I've been working on. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room and get straight to the point. Where have I been? Well, if you haven't seen my last video, and believe me, I don't blame you if you haven't. Or if you haven't seen the community posts. Which again, I haven't blamed you if you haven't. And if you haven't seen my streams, again, I haven't blamed you if you haven't seen those either. I've been working on a project for over 10 months now. And I want to clear the air and sort out all the confusion behind it all. But I think we best need to start from the beginning. It was April last year and I was creating which now I and many others consider a success, the Rust movie. What goes around comes back around. Fast forward a bit to June and I release another Rust movie, The Alliance That Changed Me, which turned out to be an even greater success. And then everything just kind of crashed on top of me with a massive realization that I really didn't like making those movies. I followed the trend, I followed the YouTube meta, I copied what others were doing that was successful and gaining my own success. And I really hated doing what I was doing. And I came to the realization altogether that I haven't been enjoying any of this for quite some time now. I wasn't enjoying what I was creating because instead of making something I knew was unique to me and my channel, I was creating something similar to others with my own spin on it. I hated how everything got to do with Rust was grounded into a gameplay aspect. I disliked how the only content that did good was related to PvP, comedy, or a well dragged out story of essentially a pretty mundane thing that was always going to happen in Rust anyway. And it's okay those things are entertaining. It's okay that other content creators are having success with those genres of content. It's great that they are having fun playing and creating them all. But I wasn't having fun with any of it. I was hating the whole rat race trait of it all. The fact offline raids were so common, that toxicity is considered a trait of the game we just must accept at this point. That hours upon hours is needed to progress in order to get stuff done. And that hackers, scripters, stream snipers were commonplace. And to top it all off with trying to compete with others doing this exact same thing, with a ridiculously fragile algorithmic platform that is YouTube, you cook up a recipe for self-doubt, stress, depression, burnout, and so much more. And that was me playing Rust. That was me editing it, uploading it, and repeating the cycle over and over just like every other YouTuber out there, doing the exact same thing and not feeling any reward or gratification every time I uploaded. Because I kept seeing my content literally blending in with everything else I see in the suggestions in front of my own eyes. And it just wasn't making me happy. At all. Do you remember the clan wars? Do you remember Rust PD? Swember, Boris the Blade, Tony Buttface. They all created unique stories with the tools provided by Rust. They didn't rely on the greatest snowball. They didn't rely on an epic online raid defense or a revenge story. They created their own projects with their own visions, and I loved every single one of them and everything about them. That is this project. That is what I'm working on. This is Cobalt, The Descent. But what exactly is Cobalt the Descent? Well, without giving too much away, it's my own unique take and spin on Rust's lore within a military setting dwelling in the genre of cosmic horror. With what little lore we have to grasp on to, other than Shadowfrax's backstory videos, I wanted to give more attention to our boys in blue, Cobalt. Their backstory is posters on walls, and they have a lone scientist analysing the same junk pile on the side of the road for hours on end. Their backstory is dropping an airdrop every now and then and appearing on oil rigs and cargo ships. And I want to make that so much more than what it currently is. These guys used to control these islands. They were funded by Soviet Russia, they led crucial scientific and military developments alongside the production of space travel, and so much more. So I took on this project, and here's what's been in development up until now. The script took many rewrites and proofreadings. It's my first ever script I've written, and it's completed. Nearly all voice actors have provided their lines. A lot of big names I'm sure you all will be able to realise when the time comes. The map, it's entirely made by myself with a few assets provided by the map making community alongside some much needed help by Lone and Ted Poms, thank you. But essentially this was created entirely by me. It's my first ever map. I started with no experience whatsoever, but I knew my vision and I needed it finished and completed. So that's where a majority of the time's gone. Plugins, Rust has its charm, but in a realistic military setting, this is where it falls flat. That's where my clients have come in to help out with the project. Wearable backpacks, stackable clothing and armor, drivable Bradley. All this and more which is currently being worked on. From making the walking look less, well, whatever this is, to retractable night vision goggles and more. Filming has commenced, actually, from when I am recording this right now. It was actually a few hours ago, last night. So that's completed for the opening scenes of the movie. And this is where you guys can come in, if any of this interests you. If you wish to be part of this project in any shape or form, then there is my Patreon. All I have stated in this video so far was already shown and provided to my patrons months in advance. These scenes were possible due to the help from my patrons with body acting and more. I appreciate every single one of you that turned up last night. It was absolutely brilliant and very humbling. Here's some clips of taking him over to the next scene. It looks like good old Rust before the team system, and where you saw Zergs every time you logged onto any official server. It was kind of surreal seeing. The barrier to entry is actually only $1 a month. I tried to get it to the cheapest option as possible, but with that you'll have access to an exclusive Discord along with exclusive updates, progress, map tours and body acting sessions as well. So you will physically be able to be in this project and future projects. Like, you'll be able to be acting in these. But let's now show you in its entirety the map, and with as much detail into the progress of it all as I can. So you all know what I've been working on for the past 10 months altogether, from script to contacting clients to making the map myself to plugins, everything. You're going to see the entirety of the map from when I very first started to the very end, without giving way too much away. But I shall now be showing you a side-by-side in-game and in Rust Edit comparison tour of the entirety of the map, along with insight into the development choices, drawbacks, ideas, and all the other struggles that actually came with this project, which was surprisingly, although very daunting and very stressful, was some of the most fun I've actually had ever, like, on my computer. There's a saying, I can't think on the top of my head now, but it's basically, if you limit yourself with the tools, you end up becoming more creative. I can't find the official, like, quote embedded in my brain somewhere, but I'll probably pop it up on the screen. But it's essentially like, the more you limit yourself, you become more creative. So in that retrospect, when it came to Rust Edit, with my limited amount of knowledge, I started becoming very creative and productive. But I'm starting to like go off on one right now. So we're now going to go into the map tour itself, along with in-game footage and in Rust Edit footage. So if that interests you, it's going to start now. Thank you again for your patience. Thank you all again for your, like, yeah, basically, yeah, patience. Like, patience is a virtue, and in this case, I truly believe it is. I fully believe in this project. I fully have invested everything with my Patreon fundings into this project, and I couldn't be any more happier with the results of what's been accomplished so far. And just before we get into the map tour, I need to talk about my good old friends, PurxFilms. These guys have been incredibly professional, incredibly helpful, and have delivered so much of what I needed that is physically impossible in the Rust game engine, which was what you saw at the beginning. They have been working tirelessly on this one scene. There's 2 more scenes that I need them to work on, but they've been working on it non-stop almost, and they're also working on custom skins, which you can see screenshots of now, and it's just it's impeccable, their work, and I feel like they deserve way more praise and recognition and attention, really. So I would highly recommend checking out their YouTube channel and their Twitter and all their other social links. They've actually released a trailer for their own Rust movie, which is on hold at the moment because they're actually working on my scenes at the moment as well, which I really appreciate. But their film is entirely made within Blender. I don't think anything is actually out there on the YouTube scene with that, so if that interests you, I would highly recommend going into that, because I feel like that is the next step. This is the next step in Rust content creation, and I'm very excited about what they can do. And again, I want to say a massive thank you for MikeTheVike for agreeing to doing a map tour video of my map. It's actually kind of surreal showing him around, because his videos were actually the ones that got me into map making and taking this project in the first place. So if you haven't seen that already, I would advise watching MikeTheVike. He's probably made it way less boring than I'm going to be doing with my video. Anyway, let's get to the map tour now. Alright, well, welcome now. Ooh, bit of lightning to start off. Welcome to the live commentary of the map tour. This is the entirety of the map. So, ooh, that looks cool. I've got a plugin right now where I can like fully adapt how I want the weather to be. So that's one of the other plugins as well. It's Preferred Environments by Chaos. Really, really helpful. It has like a UI and everything to it and everything. I'll probably be able to show you later in the video at some point. But this is the very start of the map. As you can see, it's a very long strip of road. So this would be the opening scenes of the movie. So not that very interesting, but definitely sets the mood as you see the lights in the distance along with the lighting. That's really cool. So this was the very first monument that I did. Well, the first ever part of the map, actually. This is like my first ever start of making this entirety of the map. So again, as you can see, it has that idea of well, basically the premise of like this is that Cobalt has been notified about something that's gone down at the mining colony, which is all the way down that road there, and they're now rushing in to try and quote unquote like quarantine. I don't think that's the right word, but like contain it maybe, like, so like they don't want anyone in, they don't want anyone out. So there's sandbags scattered around this the sentry turrets here, and then there's like military beds right here. This is one of the prefabs that I made actually. They have a little bit of a lightning glow there, so you can see it a bit easier. You'll see a bunch of those throughout the map. But yeah, nothing too major. I'll make it nighttime. In fact, I'm gonna keep the hood on so it will be easier to show you around with the flashlights and everything and the torches and the night vision goggles, but I'll make it daytime now. Just so you get an idea of the scale of it. So this is the first checkpoint. Again, with like the little military checkpoints here, with the sandbag walls, the sandbag barriers, the sentry turrets keeping guard and everything. Military beds again. There's military equipment laying around. And we're going to go further now into down the road again. I'm sorry if I don't explain it that well during live commentary. I haven't got a script in front of me, like this is just me reacting to what I'm looking at on my screen, so I'm not very good at that. I'm way better at writing a script and then reading what's in front of me. So as you can see, now that we've gotten closer to the compound, things have drastically gone up in security. So, yeah. So there's more barricades, there's more sandbags, there's more beds, there's more searchlights everywhere, there's more equipment, there's more tents. So this tent was actually really fun to make. It's the green cloth that you see on some of the boxes. You'll probably, yeah, here's a perfect example actually. It's this green cloth right here, but then stretched out. And that's what's been made into these beds as well, and then these tents. And I've made various versions as well. Ones without the netting as well, ones with a without and with. And then there's also different variants as in like what's inside. So this is a sleeping one with their own little like beds and everything. A little star right there. So we're going to go further. Oh, okay, we'll actually show you this. So this was actually really fun to make. So there's no like construction, like equipment, prefabs that much. And what I really wanted for one of the map, well, for the map, is this construction light. So I've made two variants again, one on, one off. So these are the plate lights, but like 4 of them to give off like that powerful beam of light effect as what you see at construction sites and mining like pits during the nighttime. So if you look closely, that's a telephone. This is like generators stretched out, and then the wire prefabs, plate lights. These are those plastic like containers that you have on the shelves in the abandoned supermarket. And these trucks here, like not these green ones, these are in game, but these trucks here, these are one of the packs that I got from the Rust Edit website. It's made by Razor, and then a bunch of numbers. I'll put his name on the screen now. But he's made different variants of these trucks, which you can see scattered around this map. Very helpful. I'm glad that someone made it, because it exactly fits the mood entirely. And then construction light as well. Nothing too major, but you need traffic cones for stuff like this, I guess. And I've got this weather effect because this is like predominantly going to be the entire weather of the film. Very dark. Ooh, that looked cool. Very dark, very serious, windy, rainy. Fits the vibe perfectly. I feel like something is serious. Something's very off. And this is one of the well, this is a shrunken down version, but you see right here this little radar thing. This is made by Lone. It's actually part of the free package on his website, so if you're interested in map making and want this, he's got it for free on his website. Very helpful. I've got those scattered around the map as well. Very military-esque, and I love the green glow that it gives off. Green glow? Green glow that it gives off. Which is actually the radiation barrel that you see in the military tunnels underground. Very helpful. Thank you, Lone. We'll just quickly go up. So nothing too major again here, but like the just, you know, sandbags. Like they want to keep this. They don't want to keep those pesky nakeds out, those pesky survivors out, don't they? So it's like a little sniper den right here. And don't be alarmed when you see stuff like this, because obviously it's a movie set. It's not a map that will be played by multiple players. It's a movie set. So the great thing about movie sets, for a perfect example like this again, is that scenes that you know are not going to be part of the film but are going to be in the background don't rely on having that much detail put into them. So obviously there's a building there. It's not drastic to the plot or the story, but it would look better, for example, if like I had these it would look way better if I just had these buildings and then nothing behind it, or nothing behind it all the way up there. You know what I mean? So again, I have like satellites just over there. You can see the silhouettes of them. Like the film is not set there at all, but it gives off the idea that this place is massive. See what I mean? Like, it would look weird if there were just buildings in the middle and then nothing on the left or the right, despite it being so vast and large, which I'll show you in daytime now. So, like, again, like, here's a perfect example. Like, the fences eventually cut off, because obviously you don't see it in the film, but it's on the side of your vision. Like, for example, imagine the Bradley driving forward. You don't see a cut off of the fences until like all the way over there, but you don't care because you're not going to see it in the movie. And the same with here as well. So for example, like as you zoom in out more, there's no pavement, and then there's like less buildings, but there's buildings here. This is another pack as well. I actually bought this pack, is from Loan's website. So these are like the USSR buildings pack. Very helpful, and obviously the builders need a place to live and to sleep and everything, so they're there just as background filler. But we're now going to go back into nighttime, because that's, again, how the film is going to be filmed. How the film is going to be filmed. Great analogy there, Phil. Or description, should I say. But yeah, I like this area. This was probably the most challenging part of the map. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. This, we'll get to that spot. But well, now, like, again, I'm sorry if I'm going a bit too fast and getting distracted by certain parts of the map. Like I said, this is a live commentary of reacting and playing the game and showing you what's in front of me. So again, sorry if I miss anything out, or if I like talk about something and then abruptly cut to another. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I'll definitely reply to them, because I reply to all of my comments on my YouTube channel, seeing as it's not really lively anymore while working on this. But hey ho. So again, here's the radar that I was talking about earlier in its full glory. Lone radar. It's almost like a I don't know, like a lieutenant or like a sergeant tent, so they can like plan stuff. There's a little map in the middle. And when I was making this, weather wasn't even a thing. So that's actually one of the good things about this project taking the amount of time that it's doing. The devs are actually adding stuff in that are really helpful towards the project. Because I really wanted the scenes to have rain. And, well, now I have rain and thunder and wind. It definitely upscales the atmosphere of the map and the severity of the situation, I feel. So again, here's just a little, like, again, like, this is just background filler. There's no scene actually going to be in here, but you got to make it look believable, right? Like, it's actually lived in, like, people work here, so like there's like construction equipment everywhere. There's forklifts left about, some already holding stuff in. A little military checkpoint here again. Sentries, the construction site and sandbags, and then another one right here as well. But here is the piste de resistance, is what I said in MikeTheVike's video. The mining pit. So just to give you a grand scale of like how big this map actually is, I'm gonna now turn it daytime. So there it is. Lightning during the day, nice. So there's the size of the map. And this is only up on top, like it's like you see that little like building right there that we can go all the way through and inside and around and everything. And then, as I was talking earlier about like several updates adding like more needed stuff, so you can see in construction sites they have like this netting almost, and this came with the fishing village update, so that was actually really helpful. And actually, I was talking earlier just a few seconds ago as this was a nightmare. It truly was a nightmare. I was figuring out how to get this like, well, mine pit vibe going on, like how it lowers down almost like steps to eventually do the thing, and I could not figure out for the life of me. But eventually I figured out a way of doing it, basically, this is not ground level, it's actually quite high. So that's actually ground level, like normal ground level. But you can see like the little ends of the map per se, like you can see the height of it. That's how high we are. And then obviously all underneath, which is needed for the map, is down there. The higher it was then easier to then lower down with the terrain tool to go down and lower and then eventually make the mining pit itself. So that's why it has like this grain effect. And then the prefab brush as well, so you can like apply prefabs to a brush. So what that essentially means is in Rust Edit, I'll show you now on the screen compared, is you can like have several prefabs turned into a brush. So if I wanted a brush that only had the stone nodes in, for example, I could then paint it. Or if I wanted a brush that had rocks in, I could paint it. So when developing it, I really like the idea of, you know how you go on like public walks and out in the countryside, and then you start to like notice like you start to notice like where people have walked on the ground, and then there'll be like these little like mud trails, almost like a natural footpath. That's the words I'm looking for. So I wanted that vibe going along with the fact that there's these massive trucks, and obviously these guys are working a hell of a lot of the time down here, so they're obviously going to leave their mark with those humongous tires. So like I said, like little details that obviously pull off and give off the vibe of like this actually is a livable universe, a livable world. And one of the other setbacks is this excavator. Yeah, that was perfectly cute as well. So with the excavator, as you can see, now that it's daytime, you notice that it's a bit scuffed, but you won't during the nighttime. But the excavator in game doesn't actually have these things down below. It's not like a moving excavator. But one of the main drawbacks to this is the fact that the excavator itself is not one single prefab. It's actually several. It's almost like a Lego set. It's separate prefabs. So for example, this little spiky thing is one prefab. This like railing thing is one prefab. These scaffolding things are one prefab. These pylon things are one prefab. These wires are one prefab. And I kind of just shoved everything together. It's kind of like a Lego set that you've kind of stuck together, even though they weren't the right parts. As you get closer, you start like noticing that. But it gives off the vibe the further away you are away from it. I think it looks believable, especially when it's in nighttime. And again, like these scenes are not even like gonna be in the movie, but it gives off a vibe. So that's why there's less detail the further you get away to the scene where you actually are going to be seeing the movie. And another perfect example of that is probably the Armory. So these are the shelves from the abandoned supermarket, along with the wooden like office like table like separation thing. These are like little carton boxes in the abandoned supermarket. That's tea. And then there's scopes, there's goggles, there's guns. You get the idea, night vision goggles. So you don't have to worry about detail outwards, because in the movie, the scene's going to be inside. It's not going to be outside, so you don't have to worry about the detail. So that's one of the many benefits of making a map that you're not planning on making playable. So we're getting to the checkpoint here, so obviously some things here that I don't want to come out, or don't want to come in, or they're just scared of whatever the fuck is in there. So while making the inside part of this, well, the underground part, I really like the idea of making it believable as if someone, well, a huge chunk of people are actually working here. So one of the gimmicks that I noticed while showing Mike is that I really like hanging hats. A lot of people here are lazy and like to drink a lot. like I said, like this isn't going to be part of the film, but it's there. It's like it's there as detail. Background filler. That's the perfect description. It's background filler. Now we're going to one of my favorite parts of the maps, which is basically the full descent. This was heavily inspired by Reign of Fire, if no one's seen that. So Reign of Fire is like a really good movie with Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey. That's it. Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale, and everything. So it's basically the opening scenes are like very harrowing, very like horrifying. It's essentially like they're in a mining like pit, almost like this, and they awaken these massive ass dragons that eventually just end up like becoming the next apocalypse and everything. It's a really good underrated movie, I feel, for the early 2000s. I'd highly recommend it. So we've gone down further. Yep. So this is a little nod to Gary. So Gary, if you ever watch the movie, or this video, or any of it, stop talking about poo in your tweets. Gary Newman, if anyone's not understanding who Gary is, the guy that created Rust. There you go, yeah, we're now entering Gary's arsehole. As I was saying before, I love hanging hats, apparently. Now we're going to go further, deeper into the mine. And what I really liked again about making this part of the map is that you could cram so much into this. You could like make like so much look like it's lived in. So like boxes everywhere, equipment everywhere, electrics turned left on, forklifts still left on. Like for example this one with the reverse lights still turned on and the flashlight turned on. Like I said, like I really wanted to sell the vibe that this is not just an empty ass map. Like people actually work here, they live here, they make a living and stuff like that. But now we're going to go even deeper. And as you can see, this place has been blown up. Well, opened up, should I say. But there's also something else down here that we didn't know about. This isn't just a mine. It's something much, much bigger. It's a facility down here. I think we're going to go on night vision mode for this. Just to show you the grand scale of how big this hallway is. Yes, there's an underground facility down here. So, I had a lot of fun making this area. So there isn't a lot of office equipment in Rust. Like there's a few, but there isn't a lot when it comes to like what I wanted. So I had to make actually quite a lot by hand, my own type of stuff. So we actually have like all four of the major ones that I wanted to talk about. So it's the trolley. It's actually the shipping containers that you can see on the cargo ship, along with yellow barrel stretched out, the black counter table that you can see on the other Rust edit screen. This is a bin with like the computer cabinets, and again like this little like shelf thing, the vendor machine. So in Rust lore, all vendor machines have pickles, crisps, bags of tea, peanut butter, Coca-Cola, vodka, tins of beans, small cans of cola, beer, water, cornflakes, milk, and some water as well. Yeah, it's not very diverse when it comes to the food items, but it gives off the idea. It gives off like it's actually a vending machine. I had a lot of fun making these, and then this one's probably my favourite one that I made. It's a water cooler. So these are plant pots. These are like ventilation shafts that look like taps. These are actual bottles. So if we go in, it's like Coca-Cola bottles and stuff to give off like the button look. And then that's actually a water bottle. It's actually this water bottle right here, stretched out. So this is the cafeteria. Again, there's food everywhere, there's tables, there's... Oh, what's that? There's a bag of crisps there. Forgot I put that there. Vending machine, and then like counters and cash register and stuff, and shelves. So this was a big area. They had to feed a lot of people. And a lot of people had to sleep as well. So this is one of the living quarters of this huge facility. I'm talking more on limiting yourself creates more imagination and creativity. These are not pillows, they're actually massively stretched out toilet rolls, which were probably really handy at the start of the pandemic when everyone stupidly mass panic bought those. These would last a months at how big they are. Holy crap. Flashlight. So here's another actual custom prefab here. It's just an odd table. You know, like how they have like those like wheelie tables that they have in like medical bays and stuff like that, and offices. There's one of those. Well, there's actually a bunch of those scattered around. So here's the office room. And there's quite a few computers laying around. Now we're going to probably one of my favourite parts of the facility, actually. So as we get further in, you notice that stuff has kind of like been more rushed, more chaotic, should I say. We'll go into the first room here. So this room took quite a while, and I did a few streams on it actually. Sadly Twitch doesn't keep all streams up because I'm only affiliate. I don't know really the terms if you can keep all streams up, I don't know. But while streaming it, I had a lot of fun. So this is like the medical bay, and shit's gone down, as you can see. And making this was so much more, so fun. So this is one of the many medical beds, hospital beds, should I say. And again, this is toilet paper. These are those cubicles. These are like computer, like you can see like the monitor right there. This is filing cabinet, that's a telephone, that's a cash register. I feel like it pulls off like the hospital vibe, especially in the night vision goggles. I wouldn't be any the wiser from just a distance, from like the side view. Like that looks like a hospital bed to me. So I'm really chuffed with this room. Ah, here's another one actually, So this little like plastic tube going down from the IV is actually glass. Because it's see-through, it gives off that vibe as if like almost like it's a plastic tube. It has like a very high transparency with it, almost see-through. So that was really fun making and coming up with that idea. So I should probably say that this map was highly inspired by Escape from Tarkov's lab map, but also by the map the mission Monkey Business from GTA 5, the underground lab facility. Very highly inspired by those two maps / two games. It's just a spiral staircase now, so we'll just go all the way down. Ooh, spooky. And here's the generator room. Because we need to turn the power on, right? So I'm not really good with the electricity system. I haven't played this game for so long, and when I did play, I didn't really pay attention to the electricity. because I'm too simple for that. I really am, and I don't have the time to look into it. So to save time and to figure out like how to even bother doing all that crap, I basically just copy and pasted the exact same office building that you just saw, well, underground facility with the lights turned on. But while doing that, something fucked up and we're now trapped down here. So this is that massive hallway that you saw earlier, but obviously we've had a little minor cave in because this is underground after all. So these plight lights I absolutely adore. I absolutely adore these things. They give off the vibe of, you know how these office lights are so sharp and bright that they almost hurt your eyes while looking at with their artificial light that you can see in office buildings quite a lot, and even like schools with those little like plastic casings around them and everything. So these definitely set off the vibe quite a lot. They're actually hurting my head looking at them in game. So again, it's the exact same area with the emergency lights on as well, because the backup generator has been turned on and majority of the lights have turned back on. Again, more descending. Spiral staircase, nothing too exciting. But I really do like the vibe of this hallway that I did. I just imagine someone down the hallway looking at you. Now that is pretty creepy, not gonna lie. And then here's the generator room turned on. And then more descending, because this place is ridiculously massive. Now, this hallway was actually inspired and created and thought up by movement. I mentioned it in MikeTheVike's video, but you notice the M at the very end here. So, movement was in the stream when creating this map, and I really wanted like a hallway which was semi-different but also gave off the vibe of like it's more industrial, like because we're now going lower now to more like construction side of things again. And he well he what's the word, he recommended using these blue like cage things, and I loved the vibe. And then as soon as I added these red lights, it like just yeah, that's just a beautiful like creepy shot. Definitely really like this area. Supply room. Now I actually changed up this hallway, or this little spiral staircase, should I say. I originally had lights on, but then when rereading the script while making this video, I realised that it didn't actually make that much sense with what I want to happen in the scene. So in MikeTheVike's video, this room is a bit different with plate lights down on the staircase so you can see, but I don't want that. I want it to be spooky and dark. And also I came up with a last second idea to have these sparks. It definitely gives off a vibe of like, yeah, this place is massive. Especially when you just see the lights slowly fade into nothingness down below. Very spooky. With the faint red siren light in the distance. Definitely sells the mood, I think. And again, we're now getting more industrial with equipment laying around, and as I said earlier, this place was very highly inspired by Escape from Tarkov's lab map, but this part definitely was hugely inspired by it. So I love about that map is the fact that like everything is like messy, rushed. There's medical pop-up tents everywhere, and I really enjoyed making this area. So I just went to town with equipment and medical stuff everywhere. These plastic sheets are actually plastic bottles. I really loved using these, especially on the window parts here. They definitely set off like that plastic drape vibe going on. They're just basically really thinly made and then stretched out to fit the shape and size of the windows. That was a really nice touch I think I made there. And then there's obviously more equipment everywhere, and behind the glass is another further mining part. But we'll go left because in MikeTheVike's video we went right first. But here's a Decontamination Chamber. Another like checkpoint area, I want to say, like, you know, like how they have it in airports where they can like check your luggage and everything. That was inspired by this, but obviously they're checking for whatever the fuck's wrong with you in there. And again, another changing room, because people that have bacteria and biohazard substance on their clothing, they want to clean off and get rid of it. Go down here now. So as I was saying, very highly inspired by Escape from Tarkov. So there's bottles of pills everywhere, there's IV drip, there's blood bags, there's hospital beds, there's broadcasters, equipment, boxes, just everything thrown about, and like shit's gone down, to say, let's just say the least, shit's gone down. Really had fun making that area right there. Little server room, nothing too major, but they need their electricity and their internet turned on, so CCTV area / office room building thing. Little generator room, but sadly the power isn't on. Well, little of it. Conference room. More equipment everywhere. And then an office build. Well, not office. Changing room, should I say. Yeah, changing room. So another decontamination chamber just before we get into the big bad underground world, and more plastic sheets again. So these are like tethers, like these little like flashlight pole podium stand things. These were realized through, well, perfect example is probably Astroneer, the game where you have like those oxygen tank tethers. But these actually exist like in real life. There's like there's like a, you know, like beam of light tethers for like construction sites, like temporary, like they're like basically the small version of these construction lights that I made. These were kind of fun to make, all made out of attachments apart from the actual plate light part, so that you can look closely. It's 8x scopes and laser sights and everything. Now we're gonna go further down, because we can't call it the descent and not have further descension. Descension? Is that even a word? I don't know, but you know. So this was really fun to make. So I had a lot of reference for the free, I want to say, like mining machinery thing. So this is probably a shit ton of prefabs. I don't know how many, but it's like M3 9 rifle. There's like spark plugs, containers. Like that's the chimney thing of the cargo ship. That's an upside down Bradley. Plate lights, siren lights, tires, laser sights, 8x scopes, glass, diving tanks, prefab wires. Like that's actually the tip of the rocket ship on launch site. Yeah, this was really fun to make, like extremely fun. Like at this point I was very comfortable with Rust Edit, to say the least. Like I feel like I knew what I was doing at this point, and like I was having fun doing it. Well, I was having fun throughout the entire map creation, but I definitely had a lot of fun making these. this was when I started making these. This is when like a majority of the map was nearly finished, and this was the final area. Now I'm gonna go into probably one of the more creepy parts of the map, should I say? Highly inspired by Stranger Things Upside Down world. So these are actually the roots from the swamp trees. And then there's the netting, and then cloth and trousers and yeah, everywhere. Because don't worry, it's part of the plot. But when I was doing a map tour, I noticed it was actually perfect reference for a scene. But when I was doing a map tour the other day, someone was crawling down here, and if you go into free mode for a sec, it's very creepy. It's very creepy indeed. So I'll show you one of the other things, whatever these guys are, like digging, mining, like machinery, vehicle things, like drones almost. I don't know. Yeah, hell of a lot of prefabs. This is like I basically like stretched out the Bradley a tiny bit and squished it down, and then added like a rocket ship like tip thing for the drill, and like that's actually this is actually the fume like thing that you see on oil rig with the flames going out on the top there, and then this is like a tractor like digger thing, weapon attachments, broadcasters, containers, 8x scopes. Like it's very limited with like what you can use, but like if you like know what your vision is, you can make it work with Rust Edit, and that's one of the addicting properties behind it. I'll show you the last vehicle, should I say? And this big boy with the excavator drills at the end, because how else are we going to get these hallways made down under? And I'm going to go down this way here. This was really fun making. I wanted to have like pipes, because usually you need oxygen down here, and I wanted to replicate that, so you got little pipes and stuff and whatever. I don't know, sewage, I don't really know. I'm trying to pretend like I know, but I really don't. But it sells, you know. And then nearly at the end now, really. Now going back up, ascending, escaping, should I say? Now this isn't really that much like really to talk about. This is just basically like, again, background filler for the plot and for what happens in the scenes. But essentially, like, this is one of the last scenes of the movie that I've got planned. Spiraling all the way up out of here. And then we'll go here. Like, this is not even going to be in the movie, it's just like so it can like not have a bright light going through, but this gives off like the scale of how big this map actually is. So all the way down there at the edge of the orange lights, that's where we very first started on the road. And then as you follow them, that's then the checkpoint area and the woods. And then that's where all these lights are, that's the excavation pit. And then here's the underground facility, mining shaft areas, and then that's the actual underground like lab area with the lights off. And then this is it with the lights on, all those blue and red lights. And as you see on the bottom right of those blue lights, there's a little secret there that I've tried to censor out because I don't want you knowing what's there until the very end. But that's it. That's the map tour, really. So if you're actually like more interested of like how I made it, then leave a comment down below. But if any of this interests you, or if you want to be part of it, if you want to like help out in scenes and acting, or if you generally just want to like get behind the project or support me, then I said earlier I have a Patreon. The barrier to entry is $1/£1/€1 a month, which you will get behind exclusive stuff and help out with scenes, etc. Sorry, my mouth is dry and it's like 10 PM right now, and I've been talking and showing this map for like an hour now, talking to myself. So yeah, I'm not dead. I'm still working on this project. And if you've reached this far into the video, congrats to listening to my horrible voice. And thank you for taking the time in watching all of this. There's a lot to take in and I probably missed a few things along the way. So if you have any questions, any at all, or if you want some more insight, then please leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to ask to the best of my abilities without spoiling too much about this movie. There is no time frame, but if you're really missing content from me, I actually started a second channel last year. I tried to keep it under wraps just because I kind of wanted to see how it would turn out solely on its own, and it actually went surprisingly well. So if that interests you, then it's Pilps, P-I-L-P-S, and I upload games I actually enjoy playing on there. And I actually stream quite frequently on there as well, with my Twitch channel for Pilps as well. So, but yeah, this has been Synthetic, and I shall see you whenever this project is finished. Thanks for all your patience. To those who haven't unsubscribed, it really means a lot, and goodbye for now. See ya.